Hello, everyone, and welcome to Money Talks on 92.3 Inspiration FM. Captain Smart is my name, and this evening we'll have a guest in the studio as usual. Her name is Olufunmi Adepoju, CFA. Olufunmi Adepoju is the managing partner of PearlMutual Consulting Limited. It's a firm that offers financial advisory, capital raising, risk management consulting, and professional training services in Nigeria. A chartered accountant, her work experience spans various areas of the financial sector, including banking, private wealth management, economic research, business incubation, risk management, and ratings. Fumi has partnered with bodies like USAID and the Alliance for Green Revolution for Africa, AGRA. And in the last 3 years, she has leveraged her partnership with those bodies to lead fundraising of over $3 million for women-focused on SMEs, which has created more than 500 jobs. Fumi is a CFA charter holder, a chartered accountant, and a certified financial risk manager, FRM. Lagos, let's welcome to the studio this Efiko, as I like to call her, Fumi Adepoju. Good evening to you. Welcome to Money Talks.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here. So Fumi and I will be talking about diversity, equity, and inclusiveness in financing for SMEs and individuals. That is diversity, equity, and inclusiveness in financing for SMEs and individuals. It's something that you don't want to miss. So stay tuned. We'll be back and take on the topic after this time out.
We are professionals. We are impact driven. We are CFA Society Nigeria, a member society of the CFA Institute Global Network of Societies. Our mission is to promote the highest standard of practice in the Nigerian financial services industry and provide a vibrant community for our members. The CFA Charter signals the holders' commitment to professional excellence. As thought leaders, we collaborate with stakeholders to ensure adherence to ethical standards, better education for professionals, and to build market integrity. We are the leading voice for advocacy in the finance and investment industry in Nigeria. To partner with us or become our member, visit us at cfasocietynG.org for more details. CFA Society Nigeria, making finance a force for good.
Money Talks. Money Talks.
Money Talks. Money Talks.
Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money.
Welcome back. Captain Smart is right here, and Fumi Adepoju is with me in the studio. We're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusiveness in financing for SMEs and individuals. You can call on the telephone 0700-923-923-923. That's 0700 923-923-923. Or you can use the number 0817-313-6193. That's the alternate number in the studio this evening, 0817-313-6193. If you have questions or you want to make clarifications, you want to make contributions, you're welcome to do that. We're talking about money, and everybody needs money. Everybody should have money. So I'm sure you want to be a part of the program as we discuss diversity, equity, and inclusiveness in financing for SMEs and individuals. For me, this is big.
Yeah.
is big language, actually. But you can help us here to try to align this concept of diversity and equity to financial literacy and inclusion for everybody listening to this program at this moment.
All right, thank you. So when we talk about the concepts of diversity and equity and inclusion, we are talking about making sure that everybody has an opportunity or access to finance. We know that in Nigeria, up to 96% of businesses in Nigeria actually fall within the SME, that's the micro, small and medium scale enterprises in Nigeria. So more than 50% of jobs are created by these businesses, in fact, up to 80%. And we know that about 50% of those businesses are actually owned by women. We also know that the youth...
By women?
Yes.
Wow.
The youth in Nigeria represent about 60% of the population. So when we talk about diversity and equity and inclusion, we're saying that all these very important groups, if more than 60% of our population is made up of the youth, and our unemployment rate for the youth is way higher than the national unemployment rate, it means that there is a problem. And it also means that most of these people may not get jobs from established businesses already. There is a need for them, even as the youth, to be able to get access to finance that would allow them to create job opportunities for others. Women as well, in our culture, women are meant to be seen and not heard. So this is what has been for many years. So in fact, there was a time you could not own land as a woman, and there are some places in Nigeria up till now that women cannot own land, or even if they are going to own land, it is under the leadership of their husband. Because of all this, it creates lack of equity. So the access to finance is way lower for women and the youth and some of the other minority groups as well. So when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we're saying let's make room for these important groups so that our nation and our economy can actually grow properly.
What's this tie or this connection between land and money? Because every time we're talking about money, the issue of land comes in.
Yeah, land is one of those assets that is finite. It's not easy, even though now we are going into the ocean to create more land.
We're sound feeling.
But the truth of the matter is that it's still one of those few assets that is not easy to multiply. So the only way you can do it is to transfer from one person to the other. And that is why it is one group of assets that is constantly growing in value. And even when there is inflation, you will see the value of land increase significantly to meet up with the inflation rates that is actually in that economy at that time. Houses may lose value, but land does not really lose value that much, unless of course you have some circumstances, maybe there is flooding in that area and things like that. So if you go down even to the developed economies and you look at the population that tend to have more wealth, they are the population that tend to have more access to land. Yeah. Okay,
that's fine. You are very experienced, for me, with raising funds for females, especially females who own SMEs. They're always talking for the women, everything is the woman. Yeah. Is there really a need to specifically focus on the women? Because some men who are listening now will say, what again did we do? So is there anything specifically while we're focusing on them for financial literacy and inclusion?
Thank you so much. You notice that what we have there is diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah.
So it's not really just about focusing on the women, it's about equity.
You want to bring them to par.
Yes. So we just actually want to give everybody a good chance. I personally have a son, and I wouldn't want the world to focus on just women or the girl child and at the expense of the male child. So I think it's all about equity. It's just about creating opportunities. I have an aged mother that we're trying to get some information about her, because she's like 90 now. So we're trying to just get her life history. And when I was talking to her, one of the things she said to me, she finished from what they used to call Standard 6, and she was the best in her class. But because she was a woman, her father wanted to send her further than that, but family members were like, you're going to send a girl to school and she's just going to get married and go away with all that. You're not going to benefit from it. So because of all those kind of thoughts, she wasn't allowed to go to school.
Wow.
And this is more common. And she said even when she got to a particular age, because she was quite brilliant, about 5 years later, she applied to a nursing school and they admitted her. But it was time for her to get married. And my father's job apparently wouldn't allow her to, he didn't want them to be living apart. So she had to give up going to school just so she could get married. So because of all those kind of disadvantages, whether we believe it or not, the gap between access to finance for men and women is very far apart. So we have to do a little bit more to ensure that women are also getting that opportunity to have access to finance. My own work doesn't just focus on raising funds for women-owned businesses. I raise funds for businesses that women-owned businesses, as well as businesses that provide employment opportunities for women and the youth. And we've seen what little amount of capital can do for such businesses and grow the amount or the number of youth and women that they actually employ.
So if you're a woman listening out there, there's some kind of edge that you have on this program this evening, because here's an expert in raising money, raising capital for businesses, especially those that women are inside. So if you're a woman, you're interested in finances, raising finances for your business, stay tuned here. You can begin to actually call us now. 0700 923 923 923. That's 0700 923 923 923. You can also call the number 0817 313 6193. 0817 313 6193. Send WhatsApp messages also to that number. Olufunmi Adepoju, CFA, is here, and she'll take your questions. You can also make contributions to the topic at hand if you would. Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to Money Talks. Good evening.
And Lady Fumi.
Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Louis the 13th.
Welcome, Louis.
Yeah, for me, nice explanation. However, I'm wondering, this inclusion opportunity raising finance for the female or individual, at what interest rates, and is there a time frame to repay this your interest? Because even me, I'm interested though.
Okay.
Thank you for your question, Louis.
Keep listening, Louis.
Yeah. So thank you for that question. Now, we are not a financial institution. The firm that I work for, we're not a financial institution. We create what we call access to finance. Oftentimes, people think that the problem they have is, oh, nobody's giving me a loan. But oftentimes, you are actually not bankable. You have not prepared your information or structured your company in a way that will make it easy for you to get access to finance. So the first thing we do is financial incubation, which is to first of all help companies. And like I said, even companies that are not owned by women, but that are a high employer of youth and women, will still get access to working with us. So what we tend to do is to help these companies become more structured so that they can find it's easier to get access to finance.
Yes, we can hear you. Good evening. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, James Mbona from Motion.
Welcome, James.
Yes, I want to ask something. You said that women get disenfranchised, and when it comes to raising funds. Yes. I applied for a grant, Captain Smart, and I'm at the third stage of that grant already. But the person helping me out in that grant, the man told me honestly, said, let me be honest with you, that 70% of this grant favors the women, actually. So it was like, why you apply, get someone as well, maybe your sister, a trusted female, to also apply using on your behalf, so that if eventually maybe you don't get through to the last stage and she gets through, it is still your money. So does that suggest why? Because I don't know, this grant is a grant that covers entrepreneurs all across Africa. If you know what that's TF. So she said, the man said it favors the women more. I was now wondering, what do they mean by? Is it only women that actually need money, or is it? So I don't know. That suggests
people like Fumi are canvassing more for the women. That's why.
I think the whole world right now is canvassing for women. So you're going to have those situations where they are going to be giving women like an advantage because they feel they have been disenfranchised over time. So, but my response to you is that as an organization, you don't need to become a woman-owned before you get access to or begin to imbibe what we refer to as diversity, equity, and inclusion. So if you have a business, if your business is not, for instance, if you own your own business, instead of giving it to yourself and your sons, give some percentages to your wife and your daughters so that they will know that you're including women in your ownership. Now, if it is impossible, maybe you came together with your friends to have women in your ownership, then in your management, try and have some women so that you have that equity in the business. You're bringing on women, you're encouraging women, because when they say when you train a woman, you train the whole nation. That is a saying. So, and it is and if you look at it in the homes, who are the people that are really having more time for training the children? It's actually women. So it's better to empower the women so that they will be able to do better for the children and for the future generation. So you can still achieve that grant by making sure you have women. If they see that you have women either in your ownership structure or in your leadership, then you would have achieved what a woman that is applying on their own will also achieve. So this is for everyone to know. You need to understand where the world is going. The world wants to see youth, because, I mean, in Africa, we tell our children to shut up when adults are talking. So that means that when you look at an organization and the average age of the people in management, you find them that they are over the age of 35, they are going to 40, 45. But what the world wants to see is that the people below the age of and up to 35 they also have their own ideas. They have very good ideas. So if you bring them into management, there are some things that the older generation cannot get through that they can bring on board. Their innovativeness, they think out of the box. So that's what they want to see. That's what the world is looking for. Inclusion of the women and the youth. That's all.
Absolutely. The world is moving to women and youth. So men, beware. Hello, good evening to you.
Good evening, Captain Smart. Good evening, Fumi.
Good evening.
Welcome.
My name is Joma. Thank you. Well done. I really want to commend what your group is doing, what your organization is doing, and the shift towards women now. I can see a lot of banks have options for women, accounts that are dedicated to women. I know of Blue Blows on by Stanbic IBTC and some others too, Keystone Bank and Fidelity Bank. Good one. Keep it up.
Thank you.
But let's not forget the men too.
Yes,
you know. I'm telling you.
You forget us at your own peril.
They will not be forgotten at all, because the shift on women, there should be a balance too. We focus more on the women, there should be a balance. I don't tilt towards one. It was more tilted to the men before. Now we are shifting the balance to the women. It's just to the scale to the women. There should be a balance, really. So everybody is taken care of. Well done.
Thank you so much. But most rooms I enter, I am still the only woman there. The women are still the minority in most of those rooms. So even though it looks like there is a shift towards women, and that's why I was emphasizing the issue of equity. Equity means that we need to treat everyone equally.
Create a balance.
Most boards still have more men up till today than women. And sometimes when they are looking for women to have on their boards, they realize that they do not have women that have the level of experience that they are looking for. When I'm talking about experience, I mean the number of years of experience. Why? They haven't been given the opportunity to rise to some of those levels in some of those kind of organizations before. So I have a son, like I said, and I'm also with my sister that just spoke now. I don't want the world to shift to just the women, the girl child. My son complains that most of these scholarships around where he is for women.
It's happening.
It's happening in engineering, in computer science, coding and all of that. You see more opportunities for women, like grants and scholarships and things like that. So it's like, okay, so what of us? What do they want us to do? So I agree with you. I think all of us, even those that are working on the DEI as well, need to remember that there must be, the word equity is for equity or for everybody, not just for the women. And that's why I spoke earlier that we don't just work with women-owned businesses. We work with male-owned businesses as well that have
women in there
that have high employment. They don't even necessarily have to be management. For instance, we do a lot with the cashew industry, and if you look at the cashew industry, it's an industry that uses a lot of manual labor from women. The cracking of the cashew nut, you need a woman to do that. They say they have more patience. Men don't have that kind of patience. So I will work with the cashew industry any day, because I know that even if it is owned by a woman, 70% or more of their staff will be women and the youth. So
Absolutely.
that's okay for me.
Okay, for me, walk us through. Just in case you're joining us now, this is Money Talks and it's brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria. It's a financial literacy program. Olufunmi Adepoju is the guest on the program this evening, and we're looking at diversity, equity, and inclusiveness in financing for SMEs and individuals. It's been a very, very enlightening moment with Olufunmi Adepoju, CFA, on the program this evening. The world, as far as financing for SMEs and individuals are concerned, the world is tilting towards the other side. That's what we're saying here. Include women and you get things faster. That's what I'm picking from this conversation this evening. So for me, can you quickly just walk us through those peculiar challenges in the field you're in, with what you have seen, your experience in the field, those peculiar challenges women are facing, either they be women or female entrepreneurs, out there around finance and financing in the various vocations that they may find themselves right now?
Thank you so much, Captain, for that question. The way women are trained generally is usually different from men. So we have women are trained to be submissive, because you're going to have to be submissive to your husband and all of that. So consciously or unconsciously, the way the boy child is trained, in most cases, things are beginning to change now, is a little bit different. So you find women not being so bold from the beginning, and oftentimes, even when they find themselves in business, they are not as pushful as men to grow that business to a mega level. A lot of them they don't have that boldness to do that. To go to a bank and put together an application to maybe access finance, they don't have the boldness. So the first thing that they face is that challenge of being, pushful in business. Then when they start, oftentimes as well, like in some parts of even our country, Nigeria, women are not really allowed to own the land. I do a lot in agriculture, and I find out that they have to lease land from the men in their community to be able to farm. That already makes their own product that is coming out a little bit more expensive than what the men that are also farming in that environment would be able to do. Some of them, when they begin to do well, if they do not have a supportive spouse, the spouse begins to stop them from actually going out and being able to expand this business, which at the end of the day will still make the whole family actually better off. So these are challenges that women face. So people just look at women as being weaker, and they misinterpret some language and believe, okay, they don't have the capacity to do something. So they may not necessarily be the first people that the banks will even go to come and take a loan. But the banks will tell you that the non-performing loan rates of women is actually way lower than men. And that's why a lot of them now are also coming up with those products that are actually targeted towards women.
Okay, we're running out of time very fast. In case you want to join us here on the program, you can call us on the telephone number 0700-923-923-923, or you can call 0817-313-6193, particularly if you're a woman and you are an entrepreneur, you are in the SME space, and you want to find out about financing, raising finance for your business. This is an opportunity for you. For me, let's talk about the physically challenged individuals and proprietors. Okay, let's talk to this caller before we go. Help us to turn down the volume on your radio set, please. Hello, good evening. Hello. Wow. We do not really have time. Hello, good evening. Okay, we lost the call. If you're calling us, please call from a quiet place. Physically challenged individuals, for me, and proprietors, do they also have this special access to financing services? If there are, what are they? Just very quickly, like in a minute now.
All right, I would say that the focus is not as much on them as it is on women.
Okay, sorry, for me, just hold your thoughts. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. My name is Benjamin, calling from Lucky.
Okay, Benjamin, very quickly, we'll have a minute. Go ahead quickly.
Oh, great. I happen to be in partnership with a woman in my business, And then I just wanted to reiterate some of my experiences. I realized that when it comes to women in leadership, most times, maybe it's a kind of inexperience.
Benjamin, your line is muffled. Can you come closer to your telephone? We can hardly hear you.
Is it better now?
Better now, much better now.
Okay, great. So I'm part of a business where my CEO is a woman, but one of the experiences I've had with working with her is that many times the guys who we liaise with in terms of business most times stress the woman more than they would stress the man. So a lot of times I would have to come in to iron out issues that shouldn't be issues in the first place. So yes, in as much as we want women to be part of our management team, they have to work twice as hard to get the job done that a man would do naturally. And madam, I'm sorry for or with the situation with your son, but I think even as the world moves towards women and youth, they should not neglect the fact that men are also there, so we don't have to struggle too much.
Exactly.
To get
I
the same
totally agree with
and
you.
benefits.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Benjamin, thank you so much.
And Benjamin has just confirmed what we're saying.
Yeah.
If they are stressing her, they're just stressing her because they don't see why she should be in the room. And they feel that maybe by stressing her, she would eventually
Resign.
get frustrated. And that is exactly what happens. Most times, I've gotten to places, people will look at me. I have a youthful look, but I'm a lot older than I look. But people would, the way they would talk to you, they ask you some questions they wouldn't ask if it was a guy.
Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah. How did you get here? You know, you hear all sort of things. You have to prove yourself a little bit more. And then when they start talking to you about an hour or two, they say, Madam, you are actually very brilliant. And that's not actually a compliment.
Yeah.
It's actually to confirm that, you know, they have a problem with having a woman in the room. And just like Benjamin said, there are times when I go to some locations, I go with my male staff and I push them forward. They are younger, they are below me, you know, in terms of cadre, but they will find it easier dealing with men in those environments than I. So that just proves what we're saying. So there's just a need to educate everybody.
The more, yeah.
Generally.
Okay, so quickly, these problems that these physically challenged people, you know, if they have access to finance, because I know some may be listening, just like in 30 seconds. Yeah.
They should also realize that DEI covers them as well. So yes, they may not be talked about as much as others, but if you're looking around the world, you see that anything that has to do with DEI is what the whole world is moving towards. So what I would say to them is let them not look down on themselves. Let them not see their physical challenge as a barrier. Build yourself in whatever it is you're doing. Be a professional in what you're doing. Put together your documents. Then you can just approach any of the organizations you need to approach, and you will definitely get help. There are grants online for them as well, just like the women. Anything any woman is applying to, they too can apply, you know. So there are opportunities for grants, there are opportunities for loans. But like I said, it often starts with making sure that we don't cut corners when you're setting up your company. To make sure that you have a good structure and processes in place, so that people will know that whatever it is they are seeing as disadvantage is actually not a barrier to you moving forward.
Thank you so much, Olufunmi Adepoju, CFA. This is to let you know that you can get more details, you can get more information via the CFA Society website. So go there. All of these things that Fumi has been talking about here, you get information there on even how you can have access to grants and get advice, quality advice from professionals. Go to their website, www.cfasocietyng.org. That's www.cfasocietyng.org. That's the website. Or follow on Instagram and Twitter at CFA Society NG. That's on Instagram and Twitter at CFA Society NG. You can also hook up via LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. CFA Society Nigeria on those three platforms. Thank you so much for being a part of the program this evening. And Fumi Adepoju, CFA, Chartered Accountant. Thank you so much for coming. A Chartered Accountant that raises finance. You have to use that money very well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being. We'll be back next Monday at 4:30 p.m. Please do keep it with us. Captain Smart is my name.
It's 5 p.m.